Greetings, my dear viewer. You're on the channel The Price of Cheating. The channel is for those who appreciate traditional family values and condemn adultery. So be sure to subscribe to the channel. Let's get started. My name is Michael Miller. The events I'm about to recount happened during a time when my wife Samantha and I had been married for over 20 years. We met in college, fell in love, and got married soon after graduating. Together, we raised two daughters, Emily and Kate, who were just a year apart in age. Emily was a freshman in college, and Kate was finishing up her senior year of high school. 6 weeks earlier, we had taken Emily to her new dorm at a state university about 2 hours away. She moved in with one of her closest friends, and while her absence was palpable, we were excited for her as she started this new chapter. Kate, on the other hand, hadn't finalized her college choice, but there was a good chance she might follow Emily to the same school. The sisters had their fair share of sibling squabbles, but their bond was undeniable. They always supported each other when it counted. With Emily gone, the house felt emptier, quieter. Still, Samantha and I took comfort in knowing she was thriving. At the time, I was a partner at a prominent accounting firm, while Samantha worked as a supervisor for a local building supply company. Despite her degree in English, she had steadily built a successful career after returning to work once our girls were old enough for school. Although my income was higher, we enjoyed a comfortable and secure lifestyle, complete with a lovely home, dependable cars, and occasional indulgences. Samantha seemed content in her role, and our lives followed a steady, predictable rhythm. That Friday, I wrapped up work early, looking forward to a peaceful weekend. With Kate away on a school camping trip until Sunday, I envisioned a rare opportunity for Samantha and me to reconnect. I imagined a romantic evening, dinner at our favorite Italian restaurant, followed by some long overdue time alone. Emily's departure had left a noticeable void, and I hoped this weekend would help us recalibrate as a couple. When I arrived home, I saw that Samantha's car was already parked in the garage, unusual for that time of day. Perhaps she was on the same wavelength, I thought. Excited to share my dinner plans, I walked through the house calling out for her. Not finding her in the kitchen or living room, I made my way to our bedroom. As I moved down the hallway, I called out, "Samantha, are you in the bedroom?" Her voice answered calmly, "Yes, Michael, I'm here." Entering the room, I found her sitting at her vanity, carefully applying makeup. She wore a sleek black dress and the pearl necklace I had gifted her last Christmas. Her matching heels were placed neatly on the floor, and beside them, an overnight bag sat open, partially packed with casual clothing and lingerie. Taken aback, I asked, "Wow, Samantha, you look amazing. Did I forget we had plans? Where are we going? I can get ready in a flash." She looked up at me, her expression serious. "Michael, we need to talk," she began. "I was planning to tell you later, but since you're home early, we might as well discuss it now. I have plans this weekend. A date." For a moment, I froze, unable to process her words. "A date? What are you talking about? We've never discussed anything remotely like an open marriage. Is this some kind of elaborate joke? Tell me you're planning something for us and this is your way of surprising me." She exhaled deeply, as if she had rehearsed this moment. "Michael, it's just for the weekend. I'll be back by Sunday and everything will go back to normal. I've been feeling lost since Emily left and I need this. It's something I'm doing for myself. One weekend out of the years we've been together, it won't change anything, and it might even help us." I struggled to form a coherent response. "Samantha, how long have you been planning this? Who is this man? Are you leaving me for him?" "No," she replied firmly. "I love you, Michael. I'm not leaving you. He's just a friend, a married friend, actually. We've had lunch a few times, and he makes me feel alive. I didn't want to lie to you or cheat, so I'm being honest. This is about me, not us." Her words felt foreign, rehearsed, as though spoken by a stranger. She continued, "I'm not getting any younger, Michael. He finds me attractive, and it's given me a confidence boost. Can't you see? It's one weekend. I'll come back and we'll move forward." I could barely contain my disbelief. "So, one weekend of what? Rediscovering yourself? And this won't affect us at all? Samantha, listen to yourself. You don't sound like the woman I married." Her composure didn't waver, Michael, it's just a small moment in our lives. I love you, and this won't change that. Please, try to understand. I stood there, grappling with the absurdity of the situation. Then, a thought crossed my mind. Fighting to keep my voice even, I asked, "So, you're really going through with this?" "Yes," she replied confidently, "but it doesn't have to change anything." Forcing a smile, I responded, "All right then. If you're convinced this won't have consequences, so be it. If this is how things stand, I might as well make plans for my weekend too. But you need to promise me one thing. Keep your phone on, so I can contact you if something urgent happens." Samantha paused, her eyes locked on mine as though searching for something unsaid. After what felt like an eternity, she sighed and agreed. "Fine, I'll leave it on, but only if you swear not to call me unless it's truly necessary, and absolutely no tracking me." "Deal," I replied with a strained smile. "But you can still reconsider, you know." She didn't answer, turning back toward her vanity table, effectively signaling that the discussion was over. Uneasy, I retreated to my office, the weight of the situation pressing on me. It felt like my world had shifted on its axis. My fingers hovered over my phone, scrolling through my contacts until I stopped at a name I hadn't dialed in years. I pressed the call button. When the line connected, I said, "Hi, this is Michael Miller." The voice on the other end, warm and unmistakably familiar, replied with surprise, "Michael? Wow, it's been ages." It was Anna Pierce, once my assistant and a close confidant. "Anna, how have you been?" I asked, her voice unlocking memories I hadn't visited in years. Anna had been a remarkable assistant during my climb up the corporate ladder. Back then, I was still a senior associate, a few steps away from making partner. Her husband, Matt, had been a promising executive, and together they had a young son, Luke. But tragedy had struck when Matt died in a car accident 5 years ago. I had supported Anna through her loss, helping her secure a settlement that ensured her financial future. Our connection had grown stronger during those months, even veering toward something deeper, but out of respect for my marriage, we had parted ways. Hearing her voice now stirred up all those old emotions. "I'm not doing great," I admitted after a pause. "Samantha just told me she's spending the weekend with another man. She claims it's a one-time thing, but I don't even know how to process it." There was silence on her end before she spoke, her tone steady but empathetic. "Michael, I'm so sorry. I can't believe she'd do this. I always thought your marriage was solid." "So did I said bitterly, explaining the situation in greater detail. She listened closely, and her response surprised me. "Look, Luke's staying with his grandparents this weekend. If you need someone to talk to, you're welcome to come over. I was planning on a quiet weekend, but I'd be glad for the company." Her offer felt like a lifeline. We decided I'd pick her up in an hour. Preparing to leave, I felt an odd mix of nervousness and relief, as though reconnecting with her might help anchor me. When I arrived, Anna greeted me warmly. We chose an Italian restaurant for dinner, the same one I had originally planned to take Samantha to. Conversation flowed effortlessly between us, and as the evening went on, it was as though the years apart had melted away. By the time the weekend ended, I felt as though I had reclaimed a piece of myself that I hadn't realized was missing. Driving home, a sense of clarity mingled with apprehension. I knew the confrontation awaiting me was inevitable, but for the first time I felt ready to face it. As I pulled into the driveway, Samantha's car in the garage confirmed her return. Bracing myself, I walked inside. Samantha emerged from the living room, dragging her overnight bag behind her. She looked momentarily surprised to see me, but quickly masked it with a cheery tone. "Hey, sweetheart, I knew you'd be here waiting for me, see? I'm still the same wife you married. You're amazing for letting me take this break. I'll make it up to you, I promise. Maybe I'll wear something special, and we can have our own little celebration before Kate comes home." Her casual demeanor sparked a cold anger in me, though I kept it under control. Instead, I moved to the side table where my phone lay, recording the conversation, a precaution I had decided was necessary. "Samantha, don't insult my intelligence," I said, my voice steady but firm. "I know what this weekend was really about. It wasn't some innocent getaway." Her expression faltered. Guilt, maybe? Or surprise? She avoided my eyes as she replied, Michael, I told you, it was just one weekend. It was meant to help us, to help me. I thought you'd understand. Understand? I took a step closer, my tone sharp. You expect me to believe you needed to sleep with someone else to feel alive? And that it only happened once? Her face flushed, a mixture of defiance and discomfort. Look, she said, her voice quieter now. He's married too, with young kids. He's not leaving his wife. It was just an experience, Michael. It doesn't change how I feel about you. It changes everything for me, I said coldly. You threw away our marriage for something you claim was meaningless. She shook her head, frustration creeping into her voice. You're being dramatic. Her words hung in the air, but their impact was irreversible. I realized then that no explanation or excuse could undo what had been done. This wasn't just a moment of betrayal. It was the beginning of the end, and there was no turning back. He made me feel seen, Michael, like I mattered. You can't imagine what it's like to have someone look at you as if you're the most beautiful thing in the world. Is that right? I asked, keeping my tone steady, though it carried a sharp edge. And now what? Do we pretend nothing happened, only for you to run back to him the next time you feel overlooked? Her jaw tightened, her voice trembling with emotion. I told you I'm not going back to him. I just needed one moment, one weekend to feel like I was more than a shadow, like I was someone worth noticing. I shook my head, the weight of betrayal crushing down on me. A shadow? Samantha, you've never been a shadow to me. But when you walked out of this house with him, you made me feel like one. Her eyes fell, my words landing with the impact I intended. Regret clouded her expression for the first time. I'm sorry, Michael. I thought I could take that moment, come back, and we'd return to how things were. To how things were? A bitter laugh escaped me. There's no going back to how things were. And while you were gone, I found someone who's always made me feel seen. Anna. Her face froze, disbelief and pain mingling in her features. You didn't— I did, I interrupted, my voice calm but unyielding. I spent the weekend with Anna. For the first time in years, I felt like myself. The truth hung in the air, raw and unfiltered. Anna always respected my marriage, even after she lost her husband. We never crossed a line because she knew how much my vows meant to me. But when you left, you gave me a reason to reconnect with her. Samantha sank into a chair, her hands trembling. I can't believe this. I didn't think— No, you didn't think, I said sharply. If you had, you'd have realized the damage you were causing. The silence that followed was suffocating. Finally, her voice broke through, barely audible. What happens now? I took a deep breath, my decision settling heavily in my chest. I'm filing for divorce, Samantha. This marriage can't survive what you've done. Her head shot up, her eyes wide with desperation. Michael, please. I know I was wrong, selfish and foolish, but can't we try? Counseling, anything? I was just so lost. It's too late, I replied firmly. You made your choice when you left, and I've made mine. Anna and I have reconnected, and I'm not letting go of what I feel for her. My words lingered in the air as Samantha's face crumbled. She began to sob quietly, wrapping her arms around herself, trying in vain to hold together the pieces of her shattered world. I'll be fair, I said after a pause, my tone softening slightly. I'll make sure you're financially secure and you can keep the house, but I can't stay with you. She nodded weakly, defeated. I picked up my phone and stopped the recording I had started, a record of our final conversation. Though the decision tore at me, it felt necessary. There was no turning back. Later that evening, I called Emily, who was away at college, and gently broke the news. She was devastated, but agreed to wait before reaching out to her mother or sister until I could explain further. When Kate returned from camp, I told her as well. She was shaken, but tried to understand, sensing the gravity of the situation. In the weeks that followed, everything changed. I stayed in the guest room temporarily to help Kate adjust, but soon moved into a small apartment. I focused on supporting my daughters while deepening my connection with Anna. True to my word, I worked out a fair settlement with Samantha, ensuring her financial stability. To her credit, she accepted the terms without resentment. When others asked about the divorce, she initially claimed we had grown apart, but over time she admitted her mistake and took responsibility. Months passed, and Anna and I began building a new chapter together. Surrounded by family and close friends, we celebrated an intimate wedding, with Emily and Kate giving their heartfelt blessings. Standing beside Anna that day, I felt an overwhelming sense of gratitude and peace. In time, Anna convinced me that fatherhood wasn't behind me. After a successful vasectomy reversal, we welcomed 2 children into our lives. Our son, Matt, carried the name of Anna's late husband, while our daughter, Maddie, honored my mother. Watching them grow brought a joy I had never imagined. Even Anna's son, Luke, and I developed a close bond, and I became the father figure he'd longed for. Years later, on a warm summer afternoon at Emily's wedding, the past resurfaced briefly. Samantha approached with her new husband, Nicholas, a kind man with a warm demeanor. During a quiet moment, she turned to me, her expression a mix of regret and acceptance. "I'm sorry for everything, Michael," she said softly. "I'm happy for you, truly, but I'll always wonder what might have been." I met her gaze, my voice steady and sincere. "I forgive you, Samantha. We both found the lives we were meant to have. I wish you and Nicholas all the happiness in the world." I kissed her forehead gently and turned back to Anna, taking her hand in mine. Together we walked to the dance floor. As we swayed to the music, I looked into her radiant smile, filled with gratitude for the love, trust, and second chances that had defined our life. This concludes the story. If you like it, then put your powerful like and subscribe to the channel. She thought she had her whole life ahead of her, that she could just hit pause, fly off to Europe, post a couple of wine glasses on Instagram, hide behind words like, "I need to find myself," and return to the way things were, as if nothing had changed. What she didn't know was that while she was out searching, someone else had made a choice too. Not loud, not dramatic, but irreversible. He didn't shatter plates or beg her to stay. He simply changed everything. Quietly, deliberately, permanently. While she posed in front of sunsets and embraced new friends, he was erasing traces of her from the home they once shared. He didn't yell, he observed. And when she came back, she didn't find a wounded husband. She found someone who no longer waited, someone who had learned to let go, because sometimes the strongest thing you can do isn't to hold on. It's to stop trying to save someone who never asked to be saved. Hello, my friend. I'm so glad you stopped by my channel. If you're here for the first time, don't forget to subscribe and share this video with your friends or family. It really helps my channel a lot. Please tell me in which city or country you watched this video. I value every one of your comments. So, let's get started. They say there's a point in life when everything shifts, a single instant that cleaves your timeline into before and after. Mine arrived on an otherwise unremarkable Thursday evening, right after we cleared the dinner plates. Ophelia stood at the sink, rinsing dishes like it was any other weeknight. "I'm thinking about taking a trip," she said, casually, like she was telling me we were out of milk. "Just a few weeks. Europe." I paused mid-sip. "By yourself?" "Well, not exactly. Marissa and Lena are coming along, but it's something I need to do for me." She wouldn't look at me, just scrubbed at a pan like the words she was saying wouldn't echo for the rest of our lives. Marissa and Lena, both newly single, both navigating the ruins of messy breakups, both riding whatever wave of independence was currently in fashion. I didn't need to ask. I knew what kind of trip this was morphing into. "What is it you're hoping to discover there that you haven't found here?" I asked. She toweled her hands and met my gaze at last. "Ryan, I've never done anything that wasn't for someone else. I went straight from living at home into building a life with you. I need to figure out who I am again." We'd been married 4 years, just bought our first house a few months back. Sure, we'd had our struggles, but I thought we were steady, solid. Turns out, I'd been wrong. It's not about partying, she added quickly, likely reading my face. It's not that kind of thing. I just need some space to think. I nodded, slowly. Space, so you can work out what you want. Before what? Before we start a family? Before things get too anchored to take off on a European soul-searching trip with Marissa and her Pilates guru? That's not fair. Which part? The trip, or the fact you've made this decision without involving me? She let out a sharp breath. I knew you'd react like this. That's why I nearly waited until everything was booked before I told you. And that's when it hit me. This wasn't a negotiation. It was a declaration. She wasn't seeking permission. She was informing me. She left the following weekend. I didn't put up a fight. But that same night, I made a quiet decision of my own, one she'd never see coming. I drove her to the airport that morning, not out of love, but to deny her the satisfaction of painting me as difficult. She looked like she was off to brunch rather than about to cross an ocean. Linen blazer, massive sunglasses, a designer suitcase that cost more than my first car. You all right? She asked as we pulled up to the drop-off. I'm fine, I replied, cutting the engine. Got your passport? She nodded, then paused. You're being really quiet. I turned to her. You're flying across the world with two women who treat relationships like hobbies, and you're surprised I'm not chatty? She shook her head. This is exactly why I needed space. You always twist everything. It's not about cheating, she added. No, I said. But trips like this tend to nudge doors open that shouldn't even be cracked. She rolled her eyes and stepped out. I followed, grabbed her suitcase from the trunk. She kissed my cheek, like I was an old co-worker, not her husband. I'll text when I land. You don't need to, I said. Her expression tightened. What's that supposed to mean? It means go chase whatever it is you think you're missing. Just don't act like this is about us. She didn't answer, just took the handle of her suitcase and walked away. I stood there for a beat, then got back in the car and drove off, never once looking back. That afternoon, I started going through our finances. I wasn't aiming to blow anything up. I'm not the vengeful type. But I redirected my paycheck to a separate account, canceled the fall vacation we'd booked, made sure the refund went to my card, changed the billing info on everything we shared, utilities, insurance, subscriptions, subtle shifts, but they added up. We weren't officially splitting. Not yet. But I wasn't about to keep living like I had a partner who still honored her vows. Let her go find herself. I'd stay right here, paying attention. By day 4, the first photo hit my feed. A wine glass on a patio table, cobblestone street behind it. Caption: Lost in Lisbon, finding clarity. Lisbon wasn't even on the original itinerary. Then came Seville, Milan. Nice. Clearly, the plan had gone out the window. Now they were city-hopping like college kids with Eurail passes, untethered and floating. Each post carefully curated, hand-painted tapas plates, shimmering coastal sunsets, sandy feet on foreign beaches. Ophelia laughing with Marissa. Ophelia posing with abstract art. Ophelia twirling in maxi dresses and hiding behind massive sunglasses. But one photo stopped me cold. A group shot. Her, Marissa, Lena, and 3 guys I'd never seen before. One had his arm wrapped around Ophelia's waist. No tags, no explanation. Just the caption, "New friends, old souls." I stared at it for a long time, then opened a folder on my desktop and started saving screenshots. Call it paranoia, call it preparation. Either way, I was finished giving her the benefit of the doubt. No comments, no messages, no reaction. She sent one text that week. Hey, hope things are good back home. We just got to Barcelona. The view was breathtaking. I didn't reply to her message. The next day, Marissa posted a clip from a beachfront lounge. Ophelia was in the frame, barefoot with a cocktail in hand, moving gently to the rhythm of the music. That same guy from the earlier picture was right beside her, no shirt, leaning in close, whispering something just out of earshot. She didn't flinch or pull away. I watched the video more than once before saving it alongside the others. I didn't reach out, didn't ask questions. I simply waited. And then, nearly a month later, Ophelia stepped into our house like nothing had happened at all. She let her luggage fall by the door and flashed a radiant smile, as if she'd just returned from conquering the world. "It feels incredible to be back," she said, stretching with a yawn. "You wouldn't believe the train delays in Italy." I was standing by the kitchen island, arms folded. Her eyes drifted around the room. "You moved some things?" "I had the time," I said. She came closer, leaning in for a kiss. I angled away, letting her lips graze my cheek. Her smile faltered. "You're mad?" "No," I said. "You're back. Isn't that all that matters?" She chuckled softly, though the sound carried an edge of unease. "Okay. Listen. I know how it might have looked, but it wasn't what you're thinking. We just needed some space, that's all." "Looked like you found someone to share that space with." A beat passed before she said, "So, you saw the posts?" "I saw plenty." "Oh, Ryan, you know how it is. People end up in the same frame sometimes. Doesn't mean a thing." "You weren't wearing your wedding ring." She grimaced. "It felt safer not to. We were tourists. Standing out can attract attention." I said nothing. She turned and unzipped her suitcase, rummaging through it before holding out a tiny Vespa keychain. "I got you something. Thought of you when I saw it. You always said you wanted to visit Rome." I accepted it, placed it on the counter, and pulled an envelope from a drawer. I handed it to her without a word. She opened it slowly. Inside was a bank confirmation showing our joint accounts being split. Underneath that were the first documents to buy out her share of the house. I'd also included a contact card for the moving company I'd already hired. She stared at the papers like they were written in another language. "You're asking me to leave?" she said, stunned. "You said you needed space," I replied, calm. "I made sure you'd have enough." Her voice cracked. "All this because of one trip?" I took a sip from my coffee. "No, because of a choice. One you made without me." She slumped onto the sofa, looking rattled. "It was never supposed to be permanent, Ryan. I just needed time to think." "Time to do what?" I asked. "To flirt your way through Europe? Pretend you were single again? What exactly were you hoping to come back to?" She shook her head, like I was the unreasonable one. "You're taking this too far. You won't even let me explain." "You had 4 weeks," I said. "All I got were sunny pictures and captions that said nothing." "I didn't sleep with him. But you thought about it, didn't you?" The silence that followed said more than any admission could. "You think not acting on it makes it harmless?" I said. "You erased me the second you boarded that plane. You wanted freedom, Ophelia, and you got it. But freedom comes with a cost." Her eyes welled with tears. "So that's it? Just like that?" I didn't answer right away. Instead, I went to the hall closet, pulled out the duffel bag I'd already packed for her, and placed it by the couch. "You can stay with Marissa. Or Lena. You've got options." She got to her feet, her voice shaky. "You're really doing this?" I met her gaze. "I told you not to pretend this trip was for us. You made your choice. Now I'm making mine." There was no shouting, no drama, just the dense, unspoken weight of an ending settling into the room. By the end of the week, she was gone. Marissa arrived in her compact blue hatchback to help load up Ophelia's things. She didn't say much, just nodded stiffly when I answered the door, muttered a flat, "Hey," and walked down the hall toward the bedroom. Ophelia kept quiet too. She moved around like a visitor, gathering her belongings. She took down photos from the walls, cleared out drawers, left a half-used bottle of shampoo in the shower, like she couldn't quite finish letting go. At one point, she paused in the doorway, watching me type at the dining table. "This still doesn't feel real," she whispered. I didn't lift my head. It is. I thought maybe we could fix it. Once I came back. You should have thought about that before you left without me. That weekend, my brother Alec came over with his truck. We loaded the last of her boxes into storage. He didn't demand explanations, just gathered his things, secured them carefully, and drove off. Once his taillights faded into the night, I stayed outside on the balcony, wrapped in a blanket, sipping slowly from a glass of whiskey. The house felt different now. Quieter, yes, but not vacant. The stillness wasn't a void. It was something that felt entirely mine. I wasn't furious. I wasn't broken. I was simply released. The same kind of freedom she had chased halfway across the globe. Strange how I found it without ever leaving home. 2 weeks slipped by before she reached out again. A number I didn't recognize flashed across my phone screen. I let it ring until it stopped. Then the emails started arriving. Can we talk? Just one conversation, Ryan, please. I said nothing. The following afternoon, I spotted her standing outside the house, arms crossed over her chest like armor, trying not to look affected. When I walked out the door, she approached like we hadn't just dismantled everything. I've been trying to get in touch, she said. I know, I replied, sliding my key into the lock. You really moved on this fast? I started moving the second you said you needed space. She hesitated, like she was adjusting her approach. I made a mistake. I met her gaze without flinching. No, you made a choice. You just don't like the outcome. I thought we were stronger than this. No, Ophelia, I was strong. You were uncertain. She flinched like the words had landed squarely. You don't mean that. I mean every word. Slowly, she reached into her purse and brought out a small black box. Inside was my wedding ring. I kept it the whole time. I never even took it out. Then it still traveled farther than our marriage ever did. Her mouth opened, but no sound came out. Just stunned silence. I stepped around her, heading for my car. Her voice broke as she called after me. So that's it? I glanced over my shoulder once. You wanted freedom, Ophelia. Now you have it. I climbed in, started the engine, and this time, I never looked back. It's been 5 months since that day. The house was sold. We divided the necessary things. No drawn-out battles, no courtroom scenes, no theatrics, just simple goodbyes and clean exits. I downsized, moved closer to the office. 1 bedroom, simple, quiet, mine. I took up running again. Thursday nights, I attend a photography class. It's strange how the little parts of yourself start resurfacing when you stop bleeding out for someone who wouldn't have lifted a finger to save you. Friends still mention her sometimes. Are you sure you don't want to talk it through? She's been seeing a therapist. Maybe she's changed. Maybe. But I no longer need to know. That's what real peace offers you, the freedom to stop wondering. Word is she's been dating here and there, nothing serious, nothing lasting. Then, one day, she sent a final message. A photo. That old Vespa-shaped keychain from Rome resting in her hand. No caption. I deleted it without responding. What she doesn't realize is that I still have mine, not as a keepsake of her, but as a marker. A reminder that love, the real kind, isn't about grand reunions or tearful makeups. It's about staying. Staying when it's uncomfortable. Staying when escape masquerades as freedom. Staying when the world whispers that something brighter might be just around the corner. She left in search of herself. I stayed and found who I was. I've started seeing someone new, no rush, no fireworks, just something steady. The kind of warmth that doesn't demand attention but fills the room regardless. This story has come to an end. What's your opinion? Share it in the comments, my friend. And if you liked this story, check out other exciting videos on my channel. I'll say goodbye until the next video. See you.